All right, I'm going to start now, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on this evening, especially after everything that's happened this past week or so. I understand it may be difficult for some to get on here. What I'm also doing is recording this so that for those that can't make it, they can access it and have a look at it, and hopefully become familiar with some of the things that we're going to talk about on here. I don't intend to take up a great deal of your time. Hopefully, no more than 20 to 30 minutes max. On here, we are probably going to have a combination of soccer players from Town and Country U9-U10 Academy. We are probably going to have coaches from the U9-U10 Academy, parents of players in the Academy program, and also some coaches in the recreational program coaching U9-U10 players also. And the reason behind doing this is I just felt it was we haven't been at the fields this past week. We haven't had much soccer. We're supposed to start playing this past weekend. And I feel that before we start playing these games, it's important that everyone is on the same page in terms of the players, the coaches, and the parents. And if there's any information that parents are trying to give players from the sidelines or after games or after practices, then at least we're all kind of doing it we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So, without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you briefly through, and hopefully you should be able to see my screen. I believe I'm screen sharing here. Let me just move this up. Now, this is a coach's guide that I put together a while back. I think it was maybe last season. I've been working in the Town and Country Academy for 6 months. I've been working with Town and Country for about 18 months now. And I put this together for the coaches. I'm not going to take you through this whole thing because this is available for the coaches to see on a separate coaches seminar. But just to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with this. So this is more for the coach here. Last time we were on here, I briefly discussed the training curriculum and what we're going to be working with the players for the season. So on this slide here, you should be able to see what we've been working with, what we're planning to work on with the players, what the training curriculum map is, etc., etc. Obviously, this is all planned out throughout the season. I don't want to spend a great deal of time on this because I'd rather talk about shape. Here's a brief slide about games during for the coaches to look at information for during the games, give them some ideas of when they're coaching these games. Help them with some different things to think about, using visual aids, keeping time, having a plan, being prepared, analyzing the games, trying not to commentate, team shape, independent player thinking, etc. And again, this is more for coaches in the coaches seminar. As we move through this, we move to the team shape. And this is what I really want to talk about today. So the team shape that we work on, that we've been working on for the U9-U10 7v7, is a 1-2-3-1 shape. And in this shape, you have a goalkeeper, which is the 1. You have 2 defenders, which is the 2. You have 3 midfielders, which are the 3. And then you have the 1, which is the forward, which is the 1 at the top. Now, on this slide here, this is just very kind of briefly showing it to the coaches to help them understand that the team moves as a unit. So when the team is defending, then this is the kind of more compact shape that the team is in on defense. And when the team is attacking, then this is more of the spread out, expansive shape that we would attack with. Sorry, this is it here. With the forwards going up. Oh my goodness, my mouse keeps bouncing. And the attackers going up. So 7v7, 1-2-3-1 shape. Now, why do we talk about shape? Well, a lot of the information we go from, let me admit here, a lot of the curriculum that we work from is the US soccer coaching curriculum. Okay, and we work from their entire US soccer curriculum. One of the key parts of this is understanding a formation and understanding the system. So the formation, for example, that we're playing is a 1-2-3-1. And the system is understanding the specific roles within that shape. So when we look here at the neutral version of the shape, And I'm going to try and expand this and present mode. I'm just struggling with it moving along on its own. So here you can see we have a neutral 1-2-3-1 shape. Now, here's something else that we're trying to teach these kids, and they're still very young, but we're trying to educate them on the US numbering system for the players. So as they go through our program, or as they graduate and as they play in high school or in college or wherever they play after this, starting now at this young age, they're starting to understand the specific numbers that relate to the positions on the field. So for example, a goalkeeper is always a number 1. A forward, a central forward, a center forward is always a number 9. A right midfielder is a number 7. A left midfielder is a number 11. A center mid or a center defensive mid, a CDM, is a number 6. A left central defender is a number 5. And a right central defender is a number 4. Now, we will use these numbers throughout the season and have the players become familiar with this. So for example, if we're subbing a player into the field, we may say, I want you to go and play as a number 9, or I want you to go and play as a number 7, or a number 5, or a 4, or whatever it may be. But then they get to understand the actual, the number position with regards to where they're playing on the field. Now, here's a little bit more advanced version of what we're trying to show the players. So within the shape of the 1-2-3-1, here are some of the shapes that we're trying to show the players on the field. On offense, we have a blue diamond. So with the ball at the center midfielder in the middle here. On offense, we have a blue diamond that they should see in front of them options in a diamond shape. Hence, a lot of the work we do, especially on passing and receiving and on small-sided games, is working in this diamond shape. On defense, behind the ball, we have a triangle, the yellow triangle. And what we're trying to educate the players and show the players is that when we're in possession of the ball, we always need 2 players underneath that ball forming a defensive triangle to help give us cover in case we lose possession of the ball. And then underneath the triangle is our sweeper or our ultimate cover in case we get beat from behind. Now, this shape here, I'm gonna hop out of this. This shape here is a neutral shape with the ball in center midfield, just for obvious reasons. And the game's not gonna stay like this. The game will move. Underneath the triangle, we have a sweeper in case this flat line here gets broken. So that's the kind of the shape that we're working on with the players. Number 6, 7, 9, 5, and 4, diamond on offense, triangle underneath the ball on defense. Now, what happens when the ball moves? Now, here's the key part here, because I've been to a lot of games and I've seen players in positions, but when the ball moves up, then the defenders will stay back. Or when the ball is back on defense, the forward stays up too high. And one of the key things here is we're going to be working and educating the players on staying connected to each other during the game. So, for example, if the ball moves over to the left-hand side of the field and we're attacking down the left wing with the number 11, the left midfielder, you see how now our diamond, so the diamond that was in front of the 6, is the same players in this diamond, but now the diamond is further up the field using the 9, the 6 for a potential drop back, and the 7 for a cross or a switch. Underneath the 11, who has possession of the ball on the left-hand side, it's important that the 5, the left defensive centre back, slides over and completes this triangle underneath the ball with the 6. In case 11 loses the ball, we have 6 underneath to cover here. And then in case a through ball is played, we have 5 over here. Now you'll see that the sweeper has changed from being the 1 in the neutral shape to the 4 to the right-hand sided centre back when the ball's on the left-hand side of the field. So now you'll see our whole team shape has shifted up and shifted across, but we still have cover. If the other team wins the ball and plays a ball behind the number 5, then we have a 4 that can slide across and deal with the bits and pieces underneath. This same shape mirrors across to the right-hand side. So if we're attacking with our number 7, Then the number 4, the right-hand-sided centre-back, has slid over and is covering underneath the 6 and underneath the 7 in case we lose the ball. What you'll often see is the players will tend to try and stay flat, and the 5 will either be as high up as the 4, or the 4 will be back here with the 5, and they'll be working alongside each other instead of staggered, one with pressure and one with cover. So we're trying to educate them on this shape here. We're also trying to show them if they can get 1v1s or 2v1s in these areas of the field, and then work with the 9 with passes, work with the 11. Just because there is no line across this diamond doesn't mean that the 7 couldn't pass across to the 11 and switch the ball to this side. If they're in trouble, then we're trying to teach them and educate them to come out of the trouble. Could they come back to the number 6 and then switch it out to the 11 or play through to the number 9? But these are the shapes that we're trying to educate the kids in practice when they're playing 7v7 games, but also in the developmental league games, so that the players are better prepared for when they go and play against tougher competition. This is also good for the recreational players to try and help them understand these shapes. What I would do initially is I would have a board or have cones on the ground that show the players these shapes, use visual aids so the players become familiar with these positions on the field and where they are and how they move. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on before we leave today is when we're out of possession, and then also how we are trying to build out of the back, which is a key part of the program and developing soccer players. So, for example, if we lost possession of the ball, or if the other team had possession of the ball with their left midfielder, which is the triangle pointing down as a number 11, the triangle indicating that that team is attacking our goal down here, then what we want to teach the players is we need to make sure we get as many players underneath the ball as possible. It's important that our number 7, who is in charge of marking the number 11, hasn't been beaten, hasn't dived in, and is remaining underneath the ball, between the ball and the goal. If the player can do this, then we'll have a greater chance of stopping the number 11 break through our lines. If our number 7 does get beat, you can see we still have the triangle shape underneath the ball. So again, we're still keeping that diamond ahead of the ball and our attacking diamond with our centre mid, our left mid, our forward, and our right mid. And then again, underneath it, we have cover and we have our sweeper, the left defender in case the ball gets beat. If the other team has a player that's wide open on this far side of the field, then that's great. If they manage to get it to that player, that would be amazing. If they did manage to play a ball across the field in the air all the way to this player, then we would shift accordingly, or we would slide across the field. And that similar shape is on the left-hand side. So we're trying to get our outside midfielders, our 11 and our 7, to be responsible for the opposing team's outside midfielders, to try and learn to defend in 1v1 situations, to try and not get beat and not dive in. Also, to potentially try and show the player, especially around the center of the field, to try and show that player inside where we have players who can help us win the ball back, versus getting beat down the line so the other team can just dribble down and get across into our box. So we're trying to just jam up the area, be patient, not dive in. And again, as you can see here, keep lots of bodies underneath the ball. Obviously, if the player dribbles closer and gets near the penalty box and becomes more of a threat, then we're going to have to think about making a challenge and winning that ball. And again, you can see our attacking diamond. If number 11 does manage to win the ball from their number 7, which it should be a 7 on this player, then we can now generate an attack by finding the 9 early, finding a switch to the 7, or coming out of the problem to the 6, and then finding another way to the other side of the field, or forwards. So that's kind of how we would set up when we don't have the ball, if we're defending on the right or the left. If the ball was central, then we'd be somewhat more in this kind of shape, especially if the ball was up by their goalkeeper. So the last part, what I wanted to help us with today, which is, this is a big part of tactically what we work on with the players in the academy program. So technically, we're touching on all the different areas of the game: the running with the ball, the dribbling, the passing and receiving, some possession, striking the ball, the individual components that they need to become a soccer player. But one of the key parts that we work on, and one of the things that I've seen over the years that I've worked with this, is young players struggle to play out of the back, to build what we call build out of the back, or to possess the soccer ball. In the CASA League and in our development league, we play with the build out line. So for those of you that aren't familiar, a build out line is a line where, as you can see on this field, there is a hash line that goes across, a hash line that goes across the field. Now, what that does is when the goalkeeper gets the ball, or if there's a goal kick, then the opposing team has to back up to the restriction line. Now, this came into effect a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago in the CASA League, and I think nationally as well. They do a lot of this in Houston in their leagues. What this does is this encourages the young players, because this should all be about development. It encourages them to be able to build out of the back. If we didn't have a restriction line, you could imagine that the other team's players would be allowed to come all the way up here and basically wait for us to make a mistake or try and steal the ball from us. Now, what that would do is that would either one, cause us to continually make mistakes by trying to play out of the back under extreme pressure, which you wouldn't teach adults to do. If you were teaching, an adult team or a national team or a college team, if you were under a high press like this, you wouldn't try and play out of the back. So you would play the ball long. You would punt the ball to the space behind the defenders. So what this does is this allows these young players to learn and play out of the back. So what happens is, as soon as the ball is played, the goalkeeper rolls the ball out, or it's passed to one of the two right or left defenders, the 5 or the 4. The trigger for the defense to be able to come and pressure is the moment that the defender receives the ball. So if the defender wants to drop a little bit deeper, they can come and receive the ball a little bit further away from the offense. But basically, when they receive the ball, now this player can come and press. Now, what that does is that allows this player to receive it facing forwards, and then also now to try, and as you can see, they have an attacking diamond in front of them to try and build and play out of the back. You'll see that we do passing exercises on the field with cones or sticks in these kind of similar shapes, and also similar areas on the field. We do exercises with 2 against 1, 3 against 1, 4 against 1. But what we're looking at here is, can the 4 create a 2v1 with the 7? Can the 7 support either down low underneath or up high? And then when the 11 commits to the 4, or the 4 brings the ball forwards to the 11, then they're looking to play this ball. And then once that ball gets played, then you move into this scenario here. Number 7 has the ball on the outside. We have the attacking diamond in front with the forward high up. We also have the opportunity to dribble at the number 5, their left defender, and create a 1v1 situation, maybe work with our 9 in a 2v1, or maybe even play the ultimate pass, which is very difficult at this age. But if we continue to work on striking the ball and long passing, can number 7 potentially even switch a ball all the way over to the other side of the field where the number 11 is, with a great switch. So that's kind of what we're looking at to work on with the players in terms of passing, receiving, and building the ball out of the back. And once we can get the players to the situation, which if you're new to the program, you'll start to see as the weeks go on. Initially, this is quite tough, and initially they're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. When they make the mistakes, we teach them why they made the mistakes, and they continue to try it. And by the end of the season, you'll actually start to see some success with the players being able to do this. And then when they get to this kind of area of the field and they've managed to deal with the hard problem, the difficult problem, which is getting the ball out from our goal or dealing with a goal kick, then they can start to be creative and try different things on offense in a 3v3 or whatever formation they're in. But as you can imagine, initially when you first start playing 7v7 at U9 and U10, if you're one of these players, the number 1 with the ball in your hands, or the number 4 or the number 5 with the ball at your feet, or even worse, there's no restriction line and everybody's marked, it's a very daunting feeling as a player, and there aren't many options. And what happens is, it can often, if there isn't a restriction line, it can turn into a game of boom ball, where the goalkeeper is just punting the ball up the field, and we're hoping for the best and hoping to win the ball. And you know what? We may score a few goals like that. But ultimately, as these young kids, these soccer players develop and grow older, they won't have had any experience or any exposure to this. So when they're 12, 13, 14, they won't be able to play out of the back or connect any passes. So this is kind of, on offense, I would say one of the key things that we're working on with the players. Here's an example to the left-hand side. If the goalkeeper has the ball in their hands and they turn and face, instead of facing this way, if they turn and face to the left, then we're looking to either roll it out to the 3 or take a goal kick out to the 3. And then again, with the same picture in front of you, the diamond in front, the 11 coming to support down the side, trying to commit, maybe dribbling the ball up, trying to commit the 7. If the 7 bites, then you play the ball through to the 11, and now the 11 brings the ball up, and now you're playing it a 2v1 against their defender. So that's ultimately where we're trying to get to play it. Now, could they play it inside? Yes, they could play it inside. However, you have to be very careful, especially at this young age, in case they have a bad control or it's a bad pass, and this forward can steal the ball, and then the chances of them scoring are very high. So we try to discourage the pass inside, I guess, at this young age, but once we feel that they're familiar with it, pass number 1 option would be left, pass number 2 option would be high to the forward, and if you can play this, maybe the 6 can play a one-touch pass up to the 9. Or maybe even the 6 has managed to create space, and the 6 can open up, and the 6 could potentially release the 7 down the far side of the field. But that would be very advanced for the players at this age. Ultimately, we want to work on creating simple 2v1s in these areas of the field, and the left defender work with the left mid, or the right defender work with the right mid. And then after that, like I showed you here, now we're moving forward. The number 7, one kind of note on here, the number 7 has moved from supporting in this area of the field like they were a short time ago, supporting underneath. Once they see the ball goes to the 5 and it's potentially moving across to the 11 or the 9, the 7 has to recognize that and then move up into an attacking position to complete the diamond. And again, like we spoke about before, a potential one killing pass would be diagonal over to the number 7, but technically very difficult for players this age. Another good pass maybe down the line for the 9 to make a run onto, or again, just working a 2v1 against number 4. A lot of the stuff we work on with the kids is very simple. Like I explained, the technical part, the dribbling, the passing, the receiving, the running with the ball, the striking the ball, the turning, the shielding, all the individual components. The next kind of part that we really work on is helping them make smart decisions, putting them in 2v1 situations, teaching them what to do and helping them make those smart choices. And then what they'll see on the field, these situations are replicated during the game as much as possible, especially if they can keep their shape. Shape like this is not gonna happen overnight. We're gonna find that the number 7 is coming into here. We're gonna find that the number 7 wants to go get the ball. We are going to lose our shape. This is not, like I say, this is a work in progress and it's an ultimate goal, but it's the blueprint of what we're working on to try and make these kids better and help improve. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for staying on here this evening. I'm gonna, like I say, I've recorded this, so I'll save it and I'll find a way to upload it somewhere for those that couldn't make it. I hope it made sense. There's lots of information on here, but thank you for trusting in us to develop your kids into great soccer players, and thank you for being a part of the program. And I look forward to seeing the kids out at the field this week, and hopefully we'll get some games in next weekend. Thank you very much, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email and I will respond to you from there. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.